So do you want to meet my new character? It's not a friend. It's a character that I can do. It's a character that I can do the voice of, which is unique.
It is,
because we always have lots of like fun new friends stop by.
Yeah, we have a lot of opening guests, but not a lot
just
of Danny impressions.
Doing a wacky character.
Yeah.
So here's my character.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Johnny Foreman, why you always gotta switch your feet? Bada bing, what are you gonna do that for? This is the #1 Italian American Switchfoot fan.
Oh.
What do you think? Hey, Mr. Johnny Foreman, why you always gotta switch your feet?
I think it's a little racist.
Right? So do you want to meet my new character? It's not a friend. It's a character that I can do. It's a character that I can do the voice of, which is unique.
It is,
because we always have lots of like fun new friends stop by.
Yeah, we have a lot of opening guests, but not a lot
just
of Danny
me
impressions.
doing a wacky character.
Yeah.
So here's my character.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Johnny Foreman, why you always gotta switch your feet? Bada bing, what are you gonna do that for? This is the #1 Italian American Switchfoot fan. What do you think? Hey, Mr. Johnny Foreman, why you always gotta switch your feet?
I think it's a little racist.
Racist? You're saying a second generation Irish American, who's me, can't do an Italian voice?
Nope. I've seen those genealogy tests, and I'm pretty sure you don't have any Italian in you.
I don't even remember what I had on my genealogy test. Wasn't I like part like Pomeranian or something? Or I'm thinking of April's DNA test.
We've been blowing up with the issue. It's our condition. We've been blowing up with the issue. A detonation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sadie Hawkins' pod.
Hello.
I can hear you brushing your beard, Dan.
I'm brushing my beard. I miss my beard. I miss my beard.
I know, we all do.
The other day I ran a comb through my beard for the first time, and there was since my jaw operation, and my beard's a little longer. But it's the first time I ran a comb through my beard, and there was no fight. There was no pull. There was no tangles. I was like, I miss the tangles in my beard. I just don't look right with it. Although I have a lot of the motion of my upper lip back. You want to see?
That's great. Oh, yep.
Yeah, I can do duck lips now. I'm ready for some selfies.
All right.
Look at this. This should have been my new character. Hello, everybody.
Now I can see everything that's stuck in your braces, though.
Yeah. Things get stuck on my braces even worse than before.
Oh, no.
Because I can't brush and clean in there. I can't use an electric toothbrush or a water pick. And the rubber bands are extra thick than they were before the surgery. So things really get stuck in there.
Well, that's enough oral hygiene talk. What do we have for top of the show business? Relient K?
Relient Play.
Relient Play K to Secret Show.
Relient K came to see Crit Show. What did you say?
They played a secret show, right? They
Oh, right. Well, since the last time we talked, they played Furnace Fest. And we have a report on that, so we'll get to that in a minute.
Nice. And
then they did a secret opening set for Switchfoot.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
In Tennessee.
In Tennessee, okay. Yeah, and then if someone left I can get their name specifically. But the first place I heard about it was on the mildly active Sadie Hawkins group on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
I just don't do I am so grateful to everyone who pops in there. Is like, hey, look at this Relient K thing I remembered, or have, or whatever, or what do you think of this? Because I, as the moderator of that Facebook group, am not doing enough to keep engagement going. So we have some amazing members over there.
Nice.
On our Facebook group who are keeping things going. Ethan Hines said on September 28th when this happened, currently at the Switchfoot show at the Ryman in Nashville, the guys came out as surprise openers. I figured T-Sin would be here, but it was the whole group. So that was perfect timing.
Awesome.
Thank you, Relient K, for the synergy of opening for Switchfoot right before we did this episode. Well, we have more top of the show business, but yeah, that was one thing, and then Furnace Fest, and we'll get to that voicemail in a minute. Was there anything else? And then, okay, here's the other thing. So 2 episodes ago now, maybe 3, but I think it was 2 episodes ago, we had Serial Streams send us a voicemail talking about how there was Logan is Serial Streams Christian name, and
Sure.
Logan said, I had the vinyl of and the mix sounds a lot different. And we played the rip that he made from the vinyl, compared it to a rip of what's available on streaming. And I think we figured out the explanation for that. No one else called up or left any messages about, do they have a different sounding mix of Be My Escape on Did I say Be My Escape? I meant to say Be My Escape. I feel like I didn't say.
You
I
just
was
said
talking about. Okay. Sorry, not the whole mix of the whole album, but the mix of the song Be My Escape.
Okay.
And maybe I said Be My Escape. I don't remember. That was 45 seconds ago. I don't remember.
Honestly, I had kind of zoned out, so apologies to you and Logan.
So, the explanation may be that there is a single mix of
Okay.
Be My Escape.
Interesting.
And that is the mix that's on the vinyl, but it's not the mix that's on streaming and on the CDs. So after the episode where we last talked about Logan's noticing that Be My Escape has a slightly different mix on the vinyl, Logan wrote back and said, hey, thanks for letting... this is a reply to some other thing. When it was the Dead Horse episode. Logan said, I've since noticed that this mix of this vinyl version, I'm kind of I'm kind of rewriting the sentence because it's referencing other things as well. I've since then noticed that the version of Be My Escape on the vinyl is what's also used on the official music video, minus the shortened ending. So that would make sense. And then I think I replied here, this email is so slippery. It keeps shooting back up to the top. And I said, okay, that makes sense. One of the theories I mentioned on the podcast, maybe it's a single mix or a radio mix. If it's in the mix for the music video, then that makes it feel more likely to me. And then I said, I wonder, and I don't know this, if we got our hands on a CD single of Be My Escape, which it's not like there was a CD, I don't think there was a CD single released in stores.
Right.
Maybe internationally. And of course there had to have been CDs that were shipped to radio stations. But if we got our hands on one of those, would it be this different mix? So anyone out there who has a CD single of Be My Escape, or has ever noticed that the mix on the vinyl is slightly different from the CDs, please let us know. I'm slightly whistling. Do you notice I whistle? I whistle on my S sounds now?
Just a little bit. I'm sure that it'll fix in time.
I'm gonna sound like that Disney character, the one from who has the whistle in their talk? It's not Rabbit, in Winnie the Pooh.
Is it?
Or maybe it's a different character. Well, it's that person who does all the voices in a lot of Disney things.
Sure. Anyhow.
We're not to that point yet where we're watching a lot of Disney yet with Cooper.
He's not supposed to have screen time, but he really wants to look at screens.
He'll turn his head and look at the screen.
He will. I'm sure it's just the light.
Jessica's, all her books say, their vision's not developed enough at 3 months, and they can only see, this far in front of them.
I'm he is constantly looking around. He follows us around the room with his eyes. I don't know. How do they know? They're not babies. They're not reporting back. But you know who is reporting back? Someone from Furnace Fest.
Yes. So, Dan Bakaitis Pod himself, Bjorn, is calling to tell us about his experience seeing Relient K at Furnace Fest.
Hey, Justin Dan, it's Bjorn. I'm back, and it was amazing. I sound not that enthused, but genuinely, it was fantastic. Relient K seems to really know what songs the audience will like when they do live shows. because, I mean, I found myself super excited about songs that I don't even listen to that often. Like, This Week the Trend, that song I was never too hyped about, but when they brought it out live, man, that was great. Some funny things that happened. Someone came up with some frisbees, and Thiessen and Hoops both tossed them out. I think Thiessen's went farther, but I wasn't checking. But
Were they playing frisbee golf?
Oh.
Like in College Kids?
Like in College Kids. They should have just stopped the show and played frisbee golf. I don't know what frisbee golf is. Is that like where you throw a frisbee and you have to land close to a spot or something?
Maybe. Like a pole or something? I don't
I've
know.
never really known what frisbee golf is.
We didn't go to a traditional college in the 90s or anything like that, so we didn't play hacky sack or have
I
frisbee
played
golf.
hacky sack, though.
Oh, well, you're an old man, so.
Anyone can play hacky sack. I've seen a hacky sack in my life, and I've played with it. But I've never played frisbee golf.
so they played that Less Than Jake song again. That was pretty cool. The crowd was huge. There were so many people there. And I finally got some merch, picked up one of the Square logo tees. So that was nice. Yeah, it was a great show. Kind of interesting that it didn't play any 5 score. I think it was mostly Forget and but it was a great set regardless. I think the crowd was really into it. I think I was probably more into it than most of the people around me because, I don't know, everyone seemed kind of tired. I was tired as well because I was at Showbread earlier and that took a lot out of me. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to call back in a second.
Yeah, I agree. They have a way of getting you really hyped up, even if you're not, like, necessarily, like, super into the song that they're playing when you're at home. Like, I know that every time they play Sahara, I always get really into it, even though it's not necessarily my favorite song.
You're a sellout. I stick to my beliefs. If I think a Relient K song blows and they play it live, I boo.
I never said Sahara
Boo!
blows. It's a great song. It's just not necessarily
You're
one
not
of
a
my
sellout.
favorites.
Yeah, so when they played that Less Than Jake, when I heard they played the Less Than Jake song at the at Furnace Fest, I was like, the Furnace Fest crowd is probably going to be a more historical show, like a more talked about and remembered show in the zeitgeist than the Ohio is for Lovers Festival, which I think a lot of people didn't even like know was happening. And Ohio is for Lovers is where they premiered that Less Than Jake song, and we got the footage from Allie. So I was like, I went to YouTube immediately and I uploaded Allie's video. And I'm sorry, Allie, I forgot to ask you for permission. I'm just remembering this now. But I did credit her in the YouTube video. And I said, premiere of new Relient K song, because I didn't want people at Furnace Fest to think that was the premiere.
Right,
Of
like we
the
come
Less Than Jake
across
song.
in our YouTube deep dive all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm leaving a lot of long pauses. So, yeah, edit those out if you want. But
I will. I fix up people's voicemails the same way I fix up our own speech. Like, if we have little pauses and stuff, I fix them up. So everyone out there right now, if you hadn't said something and if I didn't leave this in the edit, no one would know. Everyone would be like, wow, Bjorn speaks so concisely when he's tired after a big, long concert.
yeah, I was at Showbread earlier in the day. That was a great show, too. I freaking love Showbread. I wanted to be close to the front for Relient K, so I sat through a Throwdown set, and I had no idea what to expect, but that was I didn't enjoy that very much because I mean, like I like a fair bit of moshing. You know, I was in the pit for Showbread and whatnot, but I mean, the people were like punching and kicking and doing cartwheels in the throwdown pit. So I was trying to stay far away from that while also trying to stay in the front so that I get a good spot for Relient K. Yeah, like someone threw a beer at the stage during that show, and like people were, it was crazy. Plus it was thrash metal, so I couldn't even really get down with the music as much.
But could you get down with the sickness?
I've been walking around the house. I've been working on. Let me see if I can do it right now. Because my mouth's in more pain tonight than it was all week. But I've been working on my ooh wah. That wasn't good. But I swear, the ooh wah. It's a muscle you have to stretch. The disturbed get down with the sickness. Wah.
He's been doing this all throughout. We started watching the Fast and the Furious movies because I had never seen them. Danny had only seen the first one, and Dan wanted to do a watch through, and I'm like, sure, why not? Something to put on in the evenings. And he does that like every time.
Every time something feels like it's about to be revealed, or something is revealed,
Danny just goes, ooh, wah.
or someone stands up in a heroic moment. I just want the sound cue. I want the needle drop to cut to disturbed. Down with the sickness. I want there to be like, wah. That one wasn't good enough, but I want that needle drop to happen in the movie, and then they start kicking each other. Because that's what you think in a Fast and Furious movie. You want the wah into like a kick-ass action scene. The closest we got is in Tokyo Drift. They play a Kid Rock song. But there's not as much nu metal in the Fast and Furious movies as you think. They didn't as much as like the original.
As much as you'd think there would be.
I don't know. I thought there would be more. It's probably because the first three movies were so intrinsically a part of early 2000s culture.
Sure.
And I never watched this. I never even saw the second and third one at the time. But they were so a part of like this particular 2000s culture and the music and everything. The soundtrack to the first one had hip hop and it had some nu metal, but it wasn't the whole series. I thought would like keep with the nu metal, but no, the rest of the series, like once you get into the 2010s movies, like when they start basically becoming superheroes, the soundtrack is really just more like hip hop pop modern. It's not. They don't take the nostalgic tint like. They drop in the nostalgia bait.
Even though it's only
then.
supposed to have been like so much time passing between movies.
Right. It's like the Alien movies where technically Sigourney Weaver's entire story from those four movies happens over a course of like a month or something.
Oh, wow.
Technically it happens over hundreds of years, but to her, because she keeps going into hibernation at the end of each movie, it's actually like one continuous sequence of confrontations with these aliens because she keeps going into hibernatic sleep or dying and waking up a clone. So to her, it's just like been a week of these aliens, but they had those movies happen over the course of 3 decades. So yeah, the Fast and Furious movies the same way. Anyway, I've been working on my ooh wah! Oh, damn it! My throat. I skipped Cooper. My throat. It would have been great if I nailed it right there. I swear. I've been getting the ooh wah! That one was okay. It didn't have the power, but I hit the syllables correctly.
You know what my favorite scene in the first Fast and the Furious movie is? When Brian and Mia go to see Queen of the Damned on a date.
So yeah, after that, Relient K played, and it was the first time seeing them other than the time I saw the Earthquakes open for All City. They've got a really great stage presence. Like all the members are kind of equally present up there. Yeah, and I don't even know what to say. It was a great show. But yeah, as for the rest of Furnace Fest, right after that, I was planning on seeing Anberlin and then MXPX because I really wanted to see MXPX, but my phone was dying and I needed to get an Uber, and I was like really worn out. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see them. Once I can go back again.
Well, that's okay because you can fly to Indonesia. They're doing a short Indonesian tour.
Oh wow!
They just announced that like yesterday. So,
well, thank you for that report, Buren.
Yeah, well, he has 2 more voicemails.
Oh, sorry.
I saw a little bit of Anberlin, but then I was like really wiped out, so I decided to go back to my hotel I mean, I'm not too well versed in MSPX yet, but you know, they are a band I like, so I would have liked to see them, but unfortunately that didn't pan out. I went to Furnace Fest alone, and that was great because I felt like I could really just like let loose and go as hard as I wanted to. And I think I made the most of it. It was a great show all around.
See, now if you want to go far, no, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go as a team. That's what Bjorn had to decide, and he decided to go alone, so he went fast. And he
if
couldn't
you want to go
stay...
furious, you go as a family.
That's right.
Yeah, and then on Sunday I went and saw the Insiders. That was so much fun. That was great. I love ska shows, dude.
Yeah, Jess, did you know the Insiders got back together
I did not.
for this show?
That's awesome.
I think they were last together in 2013 or something, and they were one of your first experiences with ska.
That's right.
And I saw Goaty Hook right after them. They were great. Then I saw May, and I love May. But yeah, Relient K is great. I love him. What was the last episode? Give Until There's Nothing Left. I like that song. I think whenever it comes up, like, I kind of want to skip it when it comes up in shuffle, but then if I don't, I end up really enjoying it. So I think I enjoy it more than I actually know I enjoy it. When you guys were going over the TikToks for that song, I had a thought about, like, those influencers who, like, film themselves giving money to homeless people and stuff. And I thought, like, it would be really unfortunate if one of those influencers used that song as a background to that. But yeah, that'd be really okay. I think that's it.
That's a really good point. Like, make a music video set to Mr. Beast, giving until there's nothing left.
No. More like blowing things up until there's nothing left of the atmosphere.
Okay, this is the last one. So yeah, I really enjoyed the show. Shoot. Okay, so I got cut off last night, and that's all I gotta say. Thanks for doing the podcast. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Bye.
Well, thank you, Bjorn. Thank you for that report.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have 3 other voicemails from Bjorn. Do you want me to? I'm just kidding. From someone else. So thank you very much, Bjorn, for calling up with that report about Furnace Fest. Now we need anyone who's going to see When We Were Young. We got to know.
Oh, that's right.
How young are you going to be? And call us up and let us know. So if anyone's going to that, let us know. Someone else called, and then we'll get into it. We'll be talking about what everyone wants us to talk about. Guns. About the song Ammunition. We'll be talking about Switchfoot and Relient K. But here's one more voicemail.
Hey, Dan and Jess. Glad to hear you back. This is James from Oklahoma again. I just listened to the Give Until There's Nothing Left to Give episode. And just had a quick thought on the idea of, is it to a girl, is it to God, or is it just to people, encouraging them to give charitably or be more humanitarian? And I think that it could be to God and the humanitarian. I don't think he's just changing the meaning of the song based on that concert that he went to. And it could even have the pronouns capitalized like the lyrics show. I think that could be right, because going off of, I'm driving, and so I don't have it in front of me, but Matthew chapter 25, somewhere in the 30s to 40 verses, I think, where the king separates the sheep from the goat, I believe. And anyway, he says to some people, he said, "You fed me when I was naked. Sorry, clothed me when I was naked, fed me when I was hungered, and gave me drink when I was thirsty. And so you guys are awesome." And they said, "When have I done that?" And he said, "Well, even as you have done it unto the least of my brethren, you've done it unto me." And that concept, you give until there's nothing left to the people around you charitably, and by doing so, you also give to God. And so in that sense, it could be to both. Anyway, during the absence, I listened to a couple other episodes, just kind of cherry-picked of my favorites because I haven't listened to them from the beginning. And I have a couple thoughts on some of the other episodes. I'm going to call back and do those just because it's a completely separate thought. So I'll call right back.
Well, yeah, I definitely agree with that interpretation of the song. I don't think I said it as concisely, and I definitely didn't quote any Bible verses, so I appreciate that. But like when we were going through it last episode, and I was dubious on having heard Thiessen give that explanation of this is about being charitable and humanitarian and giving to other people until there's nothing left. Having heard that description, but then reading through the lyrics, I was like, well, this second verse does not sound to me like he's singing to giving to other people. It seemed to me like, or the other way around. One of the verses sounded like he was singing to God. One of the verses to me, after having heard Thiessen give that explanation on that YouTube video, sounded like he was singing to humanity.
Right.
So in that way, James's notes on the song there make complete sense to me, because I kind of had a feeling like maybe it switches back and forth. But what I didn't say, and what I think James is getting at here, is that those things are not mutually exclusive. To be singing about giving to others and to be giving to God, those things are not separate concepts. And I guess all I was getting at is that to the song meanings, his crowd and history, and that particular set of Relient K fans that we see who just like can't cope with the idea that they aren't directly singing about praise and worship, like they wouldn't consider that it could be about humanitarian effort or humanitarian giving. They think it's gotta be about giving in praise and worship to God, and that's what like all Relient K songs are to Song Meanings Group. But it's something else, and it's just as Christian, and it's just as beautiful. It's just like it's less about the self and less about like giving yourself to God, but giving to others. And I'm completely rambling now, but whatever. You were going to say something?
I was just going to say that we have song meetings this week for this original song.
Oh, good.
And the comment section is so refreshing compared to what we deal with on a weekly basis.
Oh, wow.
Because here is a Christian band where that's not the like argument. Is this about God or a girl or whatever? This audience seems to be a bit more in tune with what the lyrics are in fact about, and there's not a huge debate with what feels like a lot of animosity.
Huh. Well, you know what? James said that his other voicemails are about other songs, so we can save those voicemails for next week. And we've already been here for a while, so why don't we get into it? This week, we're talking about Relient K's newest song, their brand new song. It didn't come out this week because our schedule is, behind now. But Relient K covered Switchfoot's Ammunition for the special edition of our version of Beautiful Letdown. So, the way we do covers, we're going to do this the same way we do any cover episode, whether it's a cover episode we've done in front of the paywall or all the K is for Karaoke songs we've done on Patreon. We talk about the original song first, and then in the second half we focus on Relient K. We talk about Switchfoot, we talk about the original song, and we can dilly-dally back and forth if we need to, but let's talk about Switchfoot. So, Jessica.
Yes.
Switchfoot, your favorite band. Yours and my favorite band. Everyone who listens to this show is hoping when we run out of Relient K songs that we're going to move on to Switchfoot's discography. And we have so much to say about Switchfoot's discography. We know it front to back. And what we don't know, we're ready. We know what once we get in there, we're ready to just deep dive into the deep facts and all those really deep songs that we've missed, right?
Yes.
No. We're not going to poo-poo Switchfoot. I think we both really like Switchfoot.
I will say, John Foreman's voice is so nostalgic for me because even though I don't think I ever heard this song like at the time, I was a big fan of Walk to Remember, which features a few Switchfoot songs. So his voice takes me right back to being 15, unlike that Taylor Swift song.
I wonder
15.
if mentioning Switchfoot, I wonder if talking about Switchfoot and saying like, oh, I loved Walk to Remember, is that like being a Grateful Dead fan and being like, I love Touch of Grey, or being a Mighty Mighty Boss Tones fan and being like, oh yeah, Clueless. Remember their seed in Clueless?
Right?
Or do Switchfoot fans, you said that there's the song meanings group for Switchfoot fans is a little bit more mature than the same group for Relient K. Are Switchfoot fans a little bit more like, yeah, they did have a bunch of their songs in Watch You Remember, and that was a wonderful thing for them. And if that's how you came to the band, or that's how you remember them most, that's good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
think Mandy Moore does a cover of one of those songs.
She does, doesn't she? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Only Hope.
We could talk about Watch You Remember because we have a little story about it, but let me talk a little bit more about Switchfoot. So, I think we're just casual Switchfoot fans. It was never we've talked about what we would do after we run out of Relient K songs, and Switchfoot's just not on the table because it's one thing, like, there's no other band that Jessica and I can do this format for as fittingly as Relient K, because I have all this personal history of going to see Relient K so much when Brian was in the band, and our relationship has this thing about our meet cute involves talking about Relient K, and me like telling Jessica, oh yeah, I talk to Matt Thiessen all the time, which I did up until I met you.
You had his email address.
I did, but like we don't have that kind of history or deep love of the entire discography of another band for us that we could talk about another band week by week. There are plenty of other artists that we love to listen to together, but not in the way that it just felt natural to talk about Relient K. So we never really
Danny could do this format with like any other co-host about any other band he listens to. It's
right.
just I'm the problem.
Like, what else do we do? Like, we both love Green Day, but like, I mean, I don't think you and me doing a Green Day song by song thing.
I've never even seen them live.
There you go. And like, I don't know, you like the Dead Milkmen and I like the Dead Milkmen, but could we go song by song? And we might not know modern Dead Milkmen, although I think you don't have to like have seen, but this has just become the what are the rules for doing a song by song podcast for a band. I don't think you need to be like I don't think you need to prove your bona fides to do a song by song podcast for any band. Like, if you just like the band, if you've never seen them live and you have like a 40 or 50% saturation rate with their material, I think that's good enough to start with doing a podcast, because like we've learned more about Relient K doing this podcast, and now we kind of feel like we have this 100% saturation with their material. Like when we went to see the Yeah tour last year, you said to me like, this is the first concert I've ever seen where I knew every song. Right. And you've seen other bands that you love, like you saw Spice Girls, you've seen Weezer, you've seen Lana Del Rey.
Well, it's not that I knew I've known every song at like all the other shows we've mentioned, but I knew the ins and outs of every song. Whereas like, I don't necessarily know the writing and such behind When Two Become One or whatever.
So, anyway, I don't feel like we would need to be the biggest Switchfoot fans in the world to continue talking about Switchfoot music after we run out of Relient K songs. It's just like, we're only casual fans. And I compare my like of Switchfoot with my like of Jimmy Eat World. I really like Jimmy Eat World, but I don't know all their music. And so we're not going to poo-poo them today. We're not going to like do the Sadie Hawkins pod bus toss, because I know a lot of you out there really love Switchfoot, and I'm sorry we're not like the most knowledgeable. Like, I don't even know the names of the members of the band. Like, I've talked to people like our follower Jacqueline, our listener Jacqueline, about Switchfoot, and she'd mentioned something about Switchfoot, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. And she's like, oh, that's their drummer or something. I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, we're going to learn a little bit about Switchfoot. So, Switchfoot.
I know they're from California.
What do you think the name Switchfoot means? Let's
Does
learn
that have to
first.
do with like skateboarding or snowboarding?
Good question.
Maybe surfing. I don't know if you call it that in surfing or if you do that there. Maybe.
Oh yeah, because they're from San Diego, right? San Diego's a big surf town, big skate town, like a lot of that classic punk scene, Blink 182, Drive Like Jehu, Rocket from the Crypt from San Diego, POD. And you are absolutely right, Jessica. According to John Foreman, the name Switchfoot comes from a surfing term. We all love to surf. Now, I did know that about Switchfoot. I constantly, because we follow them on the Instagram, and they're constantly surfing on their Instagram. John Foreman said, "We all love to surf and have been surfing all our lives, so to us, the name made sense. To switch your feet means to take a new stance facing the opposite direction. It's about change and movement, a different way of approaching life and music." Now, this is Danny speaking here. It's almost like their very popular song, "Dare You to Move."
I guess they'd be called Goofy Foot if they were named after skateboarding or maybe snowboarding. Is it called Goofy and snowboarding as well? Maybe. I've never been snowboarding.
You've never been
skiing.
And you used to skateboard. Mm-hmm. You're a bigger skater than me. All right, let's really get into it. So Switchfoot. Switchfoot is this is how we do our cover episodes. We start by reading the Wikipedia of the band that Relient K covered. Switchfoot is an American rock band from San Diego, California. The band members are John Foreman, Tim Foreman, Chad Butler, and Jerome Fontamiles. After early success in the Christian rock scene, they're Christian? Oh my God, really? Switchfoot first gained mainstream recognition with their inclusion of 4 of their songs in the 2002 movie A Walk to Remember.
Yeah,
this recognition led to their major label debut, The Beautiful Letdown. Now, is that true? That's what the Wikipedia opening paragraph is implying. Did they get signed? It led to. This Wikipedia article is implying that the reason they got signed to a major label for Beautiful Letdown is because of the popularity in A Walk to Remember. That could not be true, right? Because isn't Dare You to Move in A Walk to Remember? What are the Switchfoot songs that are in A Walk to Remember?
I have to remember. I haven't listened to that soundtrack in quite a while.
Yeah, Dare You to Move, which is on Beautiful Letdown, is in this. So I feel like their major label, maybe they'd already signed a development deal with the major labels and they got their songs
Learning
in A
to
Walk
Breathe,
to Remember.
Only Hope.
Yeah,
I Dare
so
You to Move.
the way
Those
that the
three.
Wikipedia opening article states it, where they're like, A Walk to Remember led to their major label debut, implies that the movie helped get them the major label debut.
Oh, and You. Sorry, I forgot You.
But I think it's more likely that the movie soundtrack they were on, set the stage for, but was not directly responsible for The Beautiful Letdown. That album sold 2.6 million copies. They have been noted for their energetic live shows. And their 7th studio album, Hello Hurricane, received a Grammy Award in 2011 for Best Rock or Rap Gospel Album. Now which one is it?
How many Dove Awards do they have?
Good question. I just want to know, since it won a Best Rock or Rap Gospel Album, if Hello Hurricane is a rock or a rap album.
It's a rap rock album.
Oh, okay. So Switchfoot, I've seen them a couple of times, and my biggest personal Switchfoot story is that I saw them and I have had a really hard time trying to track down the facts of this show, because it was a really sort of off the radar show, and I haven't done the deep dive digging. I had one of these for Relient K, and that was when they played at the Boy Scout camp that I've talked about, and that's like not recorded anywhere on the internet. And then there were also those like pre-release mini tour that they did for before Schneck joined the band, but Warren was now in the band. Those are also not easily found. Those aren't listed on Setlist FM and Songkick and stuff. But I did find the facts of those shows when I DM'd with John Warren that time. This Switchfoot show was like 100 people, but they were already like a known quantity. Like, I think all their first 3 albums were out. I don't think Beautiful Letdown was out yet, or maybe they were just working on it. Like, it could have been 2002, it could have been 2003. It was in Rhode Island, and it was probably held by New Sound Concerts, who put on Soulfest up in New England. And I think it was just like this semi-secret show that New Sound posted. They're like, get your tickets now. It's in this tiny bar, all ages show in Rhode Island. And it was like Switchfoot was just about to sign to a major label or something like that, you know, whatever the time frame was. And that was an amazing experience, even though I didn't know any of their music. And my friend Johnny, who was my like Relient K friend, the friend that I used to go to all of these Relient K shows with in the first 4 years of the band, and constantly bug them, and they would remember our names every time they come back through town. He was the bigger Switchfoot fan. He had all the Switchfoot CDs up to then. So all of my listening to the first 3 or 4 Switchfoot albums happened when he would bring those CDs in my car and we would drive to places. So the song we're talking about this week, I do feel a little bit of nostalgia for it because I recognize this song because I definitely never got to side B of the Beautiful Letdown that often. I heard side A enough, you know, quite a bit back when the album first came out. I never owned a Switchfoot album in my life. But when I heard Ammunition, knowing that this was the Relient K song that they were going to cover, and I'm talking about weeks ago when this track list for this sort of tribute version of all these other bands covering Beautiful Letdown songs, when it was announced, I went and I listened to Ammunition, and I was like, oh, I know this song, and it felt really nostalgic, because it's only the 4th track on the album, so I'm like, I definitely heard this, since I only ever really heard the first half of the Beautiful Letdown driving around with my friend. That's my personal attachment, as little as it is to Switchfoot. And then, of course, Switchfoot was the headliner at the 2016 Searching for America tour, is the name of their album. We went to that tour just for Relient K. And the truth is... Would
you like to tell everyone, Danny, what my personal experience with Switchfoot is? Because outside of Walk to Remember, you know, I didn't really see a ton of shows before Danny and I got together. And so once we were together, Danny definitely brought me into the whole, like, going to, like, lots of shows and festival sort of culture. And not once, but at least twice, possibly 3 times, I've never actually seen Switchfoot. From beginning to end.
Not from beginning to end.
Ever. I've seen maybe them perform 1 or 2 songs because,
because they always play after Relient K.
They're not going to play I Dare You to Move until the very end, so we might as well just go now.
Because they're always at festivals, they're always headlining. Relient K's earlier in the day, and I'm talking back in 2008. So it'd be like, it's that thing that the dad does of saying, like, the game's almost over. Let's get to the car before the traffic fills up.
Yeah. And Dad always made us leave before Switchfoot finished playing.
Now, in the 2016 tour, we both admitted to each other that we were exhausted. We had a long day. It was your birthday. We'd spent the whole day leading up to the concert doing stuff. We really
I was working that day.
You had been working, and then we had dinner, and we were in downtown Hollywood, and we were doing all this stuff. We saw Relient K. We were super excited. Switchfoot starts, and we're like, you know, I'm tired. You're tired. You ready to go? So truly, it's a blasphemous thing for us to be talking about Switchfoot. Well, I mean, we have a lot of listeners who think it's blasphemous we talk about Relient K anyway. But now we definitely are blasphemous for talking about Switchfoot. Cooper.
That bothers Cooper, Danny.
They played in Thousand Oaks a couple years ago, and I was like, Jessica, they're like down the street. They're here in the valley. We don't have to drive over the hill. Do you want to go see them? It's when they did that like sort of nautical themed tour, whatever that one was, 2018 or something, maybe 2019. And you were like, no. no, you're going to buy these tickets and then you're going to make us leave early.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, no, we're going to see them specifically.
Nope, I don't trust you.
So I don't know. They're all like an alternative rock band. They're really good and they're fast driving, but I was just prone to not listening to sort of more alternative rock type bands by that point. And we actually just talked about it this week because we did our second Pop Punk That Made Me Patreon episode. And my journey with music was like, I first discovered grunge and alternative rock. And I was like, this stuff's great. But then I discovered pop punk and ska. And I was like, oh, alternative and grunge suck. And it wasn't like a total, like, I hate this stuff. But it was more like, oh, I only liked alternative and grunge because I hadn't discovered punk yet. So once I discovered pop punk, I didn't really care for, like, just alternative rock bands anymore. So Switchfoot was just another alternative rock band to me. Relient K was punk enough for me to, like, get into and enjoy. So there was that barrier for me enjoying Switchfoot. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Do you have anything else to say about Switchfoot? Do you have any other stories?
I was bummed the first 1 or 2 times that you did it, but then by the time we got to my birthday show, I was like, he's not going to want to stay through this. And so I was like, it's fine, Dan. We can just go.
Well, the next time Switchfoot
now it's just a joke. We can never watch a full Switchfoot show. Now we do it for the meme.
I feel like we saw most of Switchfoot at RevGen. Right?
I don't think so.
I mean, we were in the back.
I think we saw like 2 songs and you were like, all right.
Well, you have a lot of ammunition to explain why I've let you down, not beautifully. So why don't we talk about the specific song, Ammunition? What did you think of this song when you started listening to it? Did you listen to this before we started researching for this week's episode?
No, I waited because I thought that you were also waiting, so I thought I was supposed to also wait.
Well,
so.
I kind of did. So when they announced, like I said, when they announced that A Beautiful Letdown was being re-recorded and that a whole bunch of people were going to do covers of all the songs, I went back, and that Relient K was going to be involved. I went back and started listening to Beautiful Letdown from beginning to end a couple of times over the last month, like basically trying to force some nostalgia into me for this album because I don't have a ton of nostalgia for this album, which I also think is like a good way that we get to view this, because like we have all this nostalgia for Relient K, and that of course, you know, flavors, alters, affects all our views on these songs, but on the Relient K songs we talk about. But in this case, we don't have that nostalgia. We're coming from this from a much more like current, a more subjective place. But I did listen to the original recording of Beautiful Letdown a bunch before the Our version came out, and then before Relient K's version came out. But I did not listen to this song recorded by Relient K until 3 days before we recorded this episode.
Okay.
Now, everyone we follow was like, oh my gosh, Relient K finally has a new song. Relient K's finally back. It's not that Fang song that has Relient K tag. This is an actual Relient K recorded song.
Or the MGK song where they just so happen to use
the sort of the chord progression or the melody from Be My Escape. This is Relient K's first real recording back. And everyone was excited. But I was like, if it was a brand new, like, fully written Relient K song that's Relient K's, I would listen to it right away. But I'm like, this is a cover. I'm going to wait until we get closer to doing the episode. So I did do that.
What's your favorite ammunition? Mine is the one in the mall in Vice City.
That one is fun. It's fun that you get to go in the mall, because you don't get to go inside a lot of buildings. Certainly not in the PlayStation 2 era.
It's true.
Yep. That is true. I can't think of a favorite ammunition. I can picture that mall from Vice City very well, but I can't really picture any other ones in particular. Yes, Ammunition is the name of the gun store from the Grand Theft Auto series.
So when I first heard this, I wasn't like super floored because I wasn't familiar with the original song. So I actually listened to the Relient K version first. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess it just wasn't what I was expecting necessarily, because my only exposure really to Switchfoot are the 4 songs that are on the Walk to Remember soundtrack. So it just wasn't what I was expecting from Relient K or Switchfoot, I guess. And then the more I've listened to it, the more I've really gotten into it. I'm like, oh yeah, this song is a total bop.
Yeah, like, this feels like the most Switchfoot song to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, of course, Dare You to Move and Meant to Live are like, you know, I know. Those were big radio hits. Those, even though we don't have a ton of nostalgia for the band Switchfoot overall, we have nostalgia for those 2 songs, whether we want to or not, because those are just played still today. We hear those Switchfoot songs on K-Rock here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But, like, when I think of what's a Switchfoot song...
Yeah, I forgot about Meant to Live. That shows up a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Everywhere.
currently, yeah.
I mean, Switchfoot, I think, more than Relient K is a band that you would be like, oh, Switchfoot does have more monthly listeners than Relient K. Switchfoot, I think, is a bigger success in the mainstream than Relient K. Relient K is a success in the mainstream, but Switchfoot more so. Like, Switchfoot... Some people may be surprised when they learn about that band Relient K that they liked 15 years ago was Christian the whole time. But many more people to this day probably don't know Switchfoot was a Christian band. Any more than like other sort of bands that they have heard and they like and they have on their playlist. Most people listen to music and don't know anything about the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People might know the name of the band and like the 3 songs they like, but they don't know anything about the band.
That is how I listen to most music.
Yeah. That is how most people listen to most music. So I think most people don't know Switchfoot is a Christian band. I would literally... Now, there's no way to quantify this, but I would bet money on this. If when we all get to heaven, I can ask God, did most people not know Switchfoot was Christian? I would expect him to say, yes, I do not.
I don't know. I feel like they do. But that's just me.
I mean, all Switchfoot fans know Switchfoot is Christian.
Maybe it's because they just sound super Christian to me.
There is something about their chord progressions, but they also have a very signature sound. And that's what I'm getting at.
Voice also sounds very Christian to me. And not just because he did the whole God thing in Deathbed, because I never listened to that song, but...
Right. But Switchfoot has a signature sound. They have like a signature way of writing songs. And I don't know if it's chord progressions, if it's something about the melodies. Like, you know, Blink-182 has that one particular chord they use a lot that's very much like their signature sound, the Blink-182 chord. I've actually seen it described on a technical level on Twitter. And
Is that like the brown note?
That's exactly what it is. But Switchfoot has that same thing where when you hear a Switchfoot guitar, it is a Switchfoot guitar. When you hear a Switchfoot chord progression, you know, I don't even know if I'm using chord progression correctly. When you hear a Switchfoot melody, it feels like a Switchfoot melody. So this song feels like quintessential Switchfoot to me. In the best possible way, it's like you asked an AI, write a Switchfoot song, and this became the song. But I mean that in a complimentary way of like, this feels like a Switchfoot song to me.
Okay.
I do think, however, Relient K's version is way better.
You might be a little biased.
I'm a little biased. But
they threw some Blink-like drums in there. A little bit.
They did. Relient K, you know, they add the piano, they add the double time drums at the end, but they also add when there's the slow pretty part in the middle, that part feels very post Blink-182 pop punk. Like the slow pretty part, and I always refer to it that way because that's what Mark Hoppus says in the Mark, Tom, and Travis Show live album when they're playing What's My Age Again and the slow pretty part comes up and he just goes, it's the slow pretty part. That's a very particular pop punk thing that happened with a lot of songs, and somehow they take this like slowed down breakdowny part of this song and Relient K adds that feeling to it. They make it into a pop punk slowed down pretty part. Then you add the piano The piano might be in the whole song, but it really stands out in the second half of the song. And that just, it adds this like deeper feeling to the music that it just resonates like in my chest, as opposed to, I don't know, the Switchfoot song just kind of like gets me bobbing my head, but somehow the Relient K version that they do gets me in here in the chest, and then that double time drum at the end.
Get you in the feels.
Yeah, it gets me in the feels. Well, I'm not even talking about like the emotional feels, but like makes me feel welled up. Like somehow that like piano just sounds so pretty. It just like fills in everything. And the double time drums really transform that second half of the song, but that's not really a punk beat, and it's the same problem I have with Local Construction. The fast beat of Local Construction is not the proper punk drum. It's just an extra fast drum. There is a difference, and I don't know it. I can't describe it.
Well,
but
maybe they're not trying to do the punk thing.
I know they're not, but they're just speeding it up. So I just personally wouldn't call the second half of what Relient K does, I wouldn't call that a punk beat added to it. They're just increasing the tempo. They're just double timing the drum.
All right, so what else do you like more about the Relient K version?
I don't know.
You like that they made it like almost 2 minutes longer?
I do. This song, you know,
that was one of the things that I preferred about the Switchfoot version. Let's keep things nice and tight, guys.
Yeah. I don't have any notes on the differences between Switchfoot's original version and the our version. And I have listened to both versions of The Beautiful Letdown from front to back once or twice in the last couple months. By which I mean I listened to The Beautiful Letdown twice from beginning to end in the last month, the original recording, and I listened to the re-record once from beginning to end. I don't have any notes on the differences between those. I tried listening to the back and forth. I will say it's like funny that Switchfoot did an our version thing. Have any other artists done the very specific parenthetical our version thing since Taylor has done this? I know that she gets a lot of credits right now as if she invented this concept, which she absolutely did not. Like, I watch the Legal Eagle YouTube channel. I really like his videos. He does some really great commentary on current legal issues and takes, like, pop culture things and dissects, like, the use of the law in movies and television and points out when they're realistic or not. But when he did his YouTube video on Taylor Swift re-recording her thing, he's like, she's reinvented the game. And I'm like, Real Big Fish did this years ago. Real Big Fish did this 10 years ago. I get it. Taylor Swift, she loses the rights, or she loses the control to her original masters, to Scooter Braun. So and then they hold her over a barrel to get them back. So she says, screw you. And she goes and she starts re-recording every one of her albums in a version that she controls. And she has this deeply devoted fan base who will pay attention to the fact that you are only supposed to stream the Taylor's version because you do not want to put money in Scooter Braun's company's pocket. So, yeah, that's a big deal for such a massive artist to do something like this. But it has happened before, right? Artists have re-recorded their music throughout history almost to reclaim some rights to it, or to have a version that the master recording of it is entirely theirs, where they have lost the rights to the master recording of their most popular version of their song. But what Switchfoot did here was very much about, like, post Taylor Swift. They re-recorded the album, and then parenthetical they added our version, just like Taylor's version, and that feels very deliberate to me.
And then they got one of her ex-boyfriends to do a song on that album.
Oh, did they?
Joe Jonas.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I won't even go down that whole rabbit hole of all that stuff that's going on right now, but yes, continue.
Gotcha. So, and I ended up having a conversation with Daniel and some other people in the Relient K Discord about this. But I'm like, you don't in 2023 re-record an album and say our version without making it very clear we are doing this for the same reason that Taylor Swift did her thing. Now, there are fans out there, music fans, music listeners, who don't know why Taylor Swift is re-recording her albums. They think she's doing it just for laughs, shits, and giggles. I guess I gotta bleep that. Just doing it. It's true, because this kicked off a conversation that I saw when Relient K announced they were doing the MXPX show. Someone was like, "Dear Relient K, please re-record your early albums just like Taylor Swift has been doing." And Daniel, You Can See My Socks, replied on Facebook. I saw him, and he's like, "That's a terrible idea." And my thing was like, why would they? And this does not bear on like them re-recording.
Because we all heard what happened with Sadie Hawkins' dance, and nobody wants that.
That's what I was about to say. Sometimes a band will re-record like one song for fun, for an anniversary, but it's a different thing to re-record your entire album. Relient K has no reason to re-record their entire discography or their early albums, because they are still on amazing terms with the people who control their masters. As far as I understand, they're still on great terms with Goatee Records. And I don't know what other corporations or whatever own their masters, but it seems to me like if Relient K wants to release a special edition of their first 3 albums, that they can do it, that they can get it done. Now, what happened with Switchfoot apparently is they were ready to release a 20th anniversary version of The Beautiful Letdown, but they couldn't get the ball rolling because it's owned by whatever record label. It's not Capitol. Like, Capitol is who works with Relient K, and Goatee Records is who works with Relient K. Are you looking it up for me?
Yeah.
So they couldn't get the ball rolling. Sony, I think, right? We'll find out in a second. They couldn't get the ball rolling with doing a big 20th anniversary of their biggest record because the major conglomerate that had the rights to it basically like kind of wasn't answering their calls, or at least wasn't making them a priority. So they re-recorded the album because they're like, this is how we'll celebrate our 20th album. Columbia Sony. It's funny because when in the early days of this podcast, when I meant to say Capitol, I was constantly noun swapping it with Columbia, which is a Danny thing. I constantly noun swap for no reason. My brain just does that. So that's my understanding of why Switchfoot re-recorded this whole album, is because they wanted to do a 20th anniversary of their biggest album, and Columbia was just not getting the ball rolling for them. So they said, well, what we can do is just re-record the whole album and get all our friends to do one version each of each song on the album. We can have them do that. And then they call it our version because that seems to me to be sending a political statement of nowadays to say, we did this for the similar reasons that Taylor did it. Now, Taylor is saying, fuck you to Scooter Braun by putting Taylor's version on all her things. I don't think Switchfoot is saying, fuck you to Columbia Records, because they are still their record company for this record, and whichever other ones they might have on this record label, on this record company. So they're not saying, fuck you. They're just like, hey, we're going to do this because you guys weren't helping us get our 20th anniversary done. Right? That seems to be what it is to me. They put our version on it, which just seems like a thing to me. So I don't have any comment on... I had a lot of comment on why I think they did this, but I don't have a lot of comment on which one's better, which one's worse. Now, as a recent Swiftie, Jess, as a recent Swiftie, as a casual Swiftie. Now, in the past, you were like, Taylor Swift sucks.
Yeah.
You liked Romeo and Juliet, that song, back when we were just getting married or just after we were married. But then
it was you proposed around the same time that song came out, and so
you liked that song.
I like that song because it was cute.
But you fell on the Katy Perry side of the feud, which is true. And before we knew...
No, not in the fact that there was any sort of a feud, just like I liked Katy Perry more.
Right. And it's not in any way related to who she might have dated and connected to this podcast. It was just a coincidence. But for the first 10 years of our marriage, you were like, this is a no Taylor Swift house. And then suddenly she switched sides. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Like one of those movies where you find out your spouse is a Russian spy. She was lying to me the whole time. She starts listening to folklore like every single day. And now she's excited about the Taylor's version of 1989. I'm like,
well, now, actually, no, I've completely switched on that. And I'm sad that I already pre-ordered it. Because now I want to boycott it. Because I'm sick of this PR nonsense. I'm done with, like, this stupid football tie-in. If you think that's not PR, you're incredibly incorrect. Like, no, the whole thing is stupid.
Well, that's a very recent development.
Yeah.
But I just think it's funny
I'm so done. I'm like, do I want to cancel my Eras Tour tickets for the movie? Because I'm so over it. Like, I can't.
The first coming up, if she keeps the date, the very first time Jessica will spend more than 5 minutes apart from Cooper will be for her to go alone to see the Eras movie while I stay home with him.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that happens. I just think it's funny how we were a no Taylor Swift house. You switched sides, and you switched sides so hard that you were like for the recent Taylor's versions. I'm like,
no, it's because, well, the thing is that I enjoyed it because I had listened to a few songs off of Fearless when that was like the album of the time, and then I started listening to, I had a friend who was like, hey, you should listen to Folklore because you love Lana Del Rey and it's like Taylor Swift doing Lana Del Rey. And I was like, okay, I need to check this out. It in no way is that, by the way. In no way is it that, but she hooked me. And I really enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, okay, she's going to go back and re-release this album or whatever, and maybe it'll sound more like Folklore. So I actually liked it because I think that her mature voice is, that's more preferable to me than her younger voice. So, like, yeah, I enjoy listening to her older albums that she's gone back and done now with a more mature sound.
If you say so. I just think it's funny that you're excited. You were, at one point, excited about the 1989 Taylor's version. Because I literally remember when 1989 came out in real, originally. And you couldn't have cared less. You hated it so much. And now you're like, oh, but that's the Taylor's version.
I listened to the Shake It Off song. I did listen to that when it was on the radio at the time. I was like, yeah, this is a bop.
Well, I'm going to shake it off.
I wish you would. So that we could keep talking about this song. So did Thiessen like strip his vocals doing the like kind of shouty part, or was that Dave?
Oh my gosh, good question. I would need to put on big headphones and really pay attention as you're listening to that.
I don't think I can.
I'm not going to be able to put it on the desk Blu-ray, Bluetooth, and hear that and really concentrate on that. But that's a really good question.
For now, I'm going to say it was Dave, just based on Relient K history and how they've recorded things before.
I would also be interested to know what exactly was the time. We have a lot of information about, like, we have the, there's Relient K releasing a video in conjunction with the release of this album of, like, well, we're celebrating Switchfoot, and here's why we love this song that we covered. And there are articles all over the place about Switchfoot saying, this is why we did this, and articles from every artist, One Republic, and the guys from 21 Pilots and the Jonas Brothers. There's quotes from everybody saying why they love this album and why they love these songs. But I want to know the time frame for when did Relient K get the call? Especially because we started this podcast when Relient K was in hibernation, right? And when they were possibly going to come back to do the Forget Not Slow Down 20th anniversary tour, and that got sidelined by COVID.
And we know around about when they were recording this because...
Right. They were posting on social media. Dark Horse Studios suddenly had a picture of Hoops' stuff there. So everyone was abuzz who were paying attention, and we weren't paying attention. People sent that to us and was like, look, they are recording something. And then if the rumor mill, the Discord was going, it's like, well, whatever they're recording, it's a cover of some kind. So it happened this summer. The recording happened this summer. It was a quick turnaround for record and release. Even if the social media posts were maybe delayed a little, it was a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, and according to Reddit, it's rumored that they actually recorded a second cover as well.
Oh, okay. I mean, they were in the studio,
you
right?
Okay there, April? She just bumped into your They Might Be Giants book. You okay?
My They Might Be Giants book, called Book, is just sitting on the ground right now. I've never
It's
unwrapped
propped
it.
up against our hutch.
Yes. But I would like to know, when did Relient K get the call from Switchfoot? So they toured last year, March. The Yeah tour seemed to have come together pretty quickly. Did they get? They probably got the call sometime after that. But when exactly? I'm just curious to know what that time frame was for their decision to get this going. So we will take our break. This will be an extra long episode. It's a celebration of 2 of our favorite bands. 3 of our favorite artists, really. This
right.
episode has been about Switchfoot, one of our favorites, Taylor Swift, one of my absolute favorites, and Relient K. So there's a lot to talk about. We're probably going to be a 2-hour episode. Let's take our break. We'll come back, talk about the lyrics, and then we'll do our deep dive.
And we're back, and we actually have TikToks for real this week.
For real.
For real. I previewed them.
You didn't do a text search in TikTok for Dare You to Move. You did a sound
I
search.
did. I did
now,
it
Jessica
in the app.
is learning more and more about TikTok. She tells me about things on TikTok. She started a Cinema Cataclysm on TikTok, and it's like blown up in like just a matter of days. Go check out Cinema Cataclysm on TikTok.
Yeah, I just have like a couple posts there, but they've gotten a lot of views, so that was exciting. It's not even original work. Of
Right.
course it's not. It's just fun stuff that I find
Halloween
around.
stuff she finds, yeah.
Okay.
And other like VHS stuff, things we like.
Here we go. This is from Lamb2K2. And it says, "We could only dream," with an arrow, and then you scroll over to the picture, and then it shows the like meme of the hand blurred, turning the volume up
yeah.
to 10, and then the dude with his hand in the air, all excited, that's also got a motion blur.
Yep.
And then it has the picture of them listening to this on Spotify.
Oh, so they're just excited about the song.
Yep.
I don't know. Now, haven't used TikTok enough, but when did TikTok just become Instagram? Where it just
Right.
just upload some pictures that you can swipe. Oh, what
I
a
don't know. I
novel
just
idea.
assumed it was always like this.
No, I think that's a newer thing because TikTok was always just the videos, and this is kind of a video, but just swipe it like Instagram.
All right, and the next one is
Instagram's
something
trying to be like TikTok. TikTok's trying to be like Instagram. Why don't they just marry each other?
The next one's definitely something to listen to.
It's such a beautiful day outside. Let's go do something fun. We are doing something
This is
fun.
Ben V.
We're gonna get a cup of coffee and go straight back home. You can still have your coffee, but I'm gonna plan something fun with our friends. I already have plans to binge watch anime, play video games, and then go to bed. You mean you don't want to go out at all? Sure. we
I
can
love
go
his
somewhere
Avenged
tonight,
Sevenfold shirt.
like the car wash. But there won't be
Yeah.
anyone there at night. Yes, exactly. My favorite time to go. Come on, we have work tomorrow. Yes, at work. Well, you will get to do all of your socializing.
This is like the classic Pixar short of the old man that plays chess with himself.
Get completely burned out from it, and then I'll have to take over to help us recover from it.
or Gollum talking to Smeagol.
Also, how long can you make a TikTok for? Because these, some of these that come up just keep going.
Apparently,
and
they
going
can be
and
really
going.
long.
Yeah.
You know what I heard about? I heard about that Mean Girls was released on Mean Girls Day, which just happened, October 3rd.
Yeah.
It was released in its entirety, in parts, but in its entirety on TikTok. And I
Why?
think like 7-minute parts, so maybe 7 minutes, or maybe it was 17, I can't remember.
That wonderful experience. It's such a beautiful day.
And that just
outside.
started over. Okay, that's fun. Oh, so there's just the 2 TikToks.
Just those 2.
Well, let's real quick check out...
I mean, this song's new. You got plenty of time to go and get your TikTok on.
Yeah, but what Switchfoot songs are out there? What TikToks are out there for Switchfoot's ammunition? Barely any. Oh wait, no. Meant to Live has 1,300. Wow, 1,300.
I'd be kind of afraid to, and please don't get that on my TikTok algorithm of what ammunition pulls up.
It's funny you say that because I won't play it, but I'll talk about it when I get there again. Somebody put together, I'd have to see it to really know. Someone put together basically like the world is crazy after 9/11, like music video set to Switchfoot's original Ammunition.
Oh no.
Here is an opinion I'm probably the only one who might know. Are there any other atheists or agnostics out there that will still jam out some fucking mid-2000s of rock? Definitely Christian music.
Yes,
Talk about stuff
I that's like literally, I don't know if you could hear what he said there. Dylan Amos, 2022, he's just talking to the camera in his car. I guess that's what you do with Switchfoot related TikToks. You just talk to the camera in your car. And he just said, if you couldn't hear it, are there any other atheists or agnostics out there who will still jam out to some early 2000s Christian rock? The answer is yes, because that's all I ever see on social media is people like I don't know if they feel guilty or they're just reveling in it or they think it's hilarious, but everybody likes to talk about how they aren't Christian anymore, but they still love their Christian rock. Like, we've been seeing it consistently since we started this podcast.
Relient K, Switchfoot, Skillet. Like, I'll be there, I'll be singing. You know what? Even Casting Crowns. I'm gonna sit there and I'll be like, I am a flower quickly fading. And I'm like, they'll be like, oh, dude, that's so cool. I'm like, no, bro, I'm an atheist, but I will fucking sing this song all goddamn day. I don't give a fuck, for real. Here is an opinion I'm probably in the...
I mean, that's because they're great songs. It's because they're great songs, and the meaning is able to mean whatever. Nobody is going around singing supertone songs when they're an atheist or an agnostic. You know what I mean? Like, songs that are really, really clearly Christian. Songs that are like, I am filled with sin and abortion is wrong. Like, no agnostics and atheists are doing that. But you can rock out to some Switchfoot and some Relient K because they are meant to be enjoyed by all. That's what well-written music... And I love some supertones. I love the music, but, like, obviously I don't stand by a lot of the lyrics still.
Well, speaking of song meanings...
We talked about it with Ethan Luck on the show.
We did.
Hi-Fi Revival is musically an outstanding album.
I realize that though we do have song meanings, we were supposed to go through the lyrics. So why don't we do that? Because there are some annotations.
Okay. Well, I've got those up right here. Switchfoot. Ammunition. Blame it on what you've been through. Blame it on what you're into. Now, I think my first impression, and I have never read the lyrics of this song. I've only listened to it and paid attention to the lyrics in the last month and really in the last couple days. But I have a feeling that the themes of this song should be pretty easily digested no matter what your belief or whatever your thoughts on God, religion, faith, any of that is. It seems like even though they're going to be coming at it from a particular faith view, that this is going to be kind of a pragmatic approach to some concepts. Blame it on what you've been through. Blame it on what you're into. Blame it on your religions. Blame it on politicians. We've been blowing up. We're the issue. It's our condition. We've been blowing up. We're the issue. Our detonation. We've been blowing up is annotated, and it says, the main theme of the song is about the brokenness of humanity. We are not right. The world is not right, and we have only ourselves to blame. This is taken by Switchfoot to be a spiritual battle for each of us. You can call the sides whatever you want, heaven, hell, good, evil, but in this battle, we are compared to bombs and ammunition. The insinuation that we are being used by evil to destroy things, and in the end it's our own fault. We are the means of the destruction, the fuse, and the cause of the destruction itself, the ammunition. I definitely got that. Like, he's like, we're the fuse and the ammunition. It's like we're both. We're doing it to ourselves. Just like Radiohead said, you do it to yourself, just you. This could also be called our sinful nature. Now, this annotation is very Christian-minded, and that's fine. I mean, that's the point of view that the song is coming from. But I would also say, like, you know, I would just add to this that we are not right. The annotator says, we are not right, the world is not right, and we only have ourselves to blame. As long as that we includes all of us, including including Christians, including the church, because I do see online consistently with annotations and song meanings that it's an us versus them thing with the Christian communities versus the world. When they say it's the world, it's like a capital W world. Like, those people, that world outside this church is lost, and they need us, the church, which is the way the faith works. That's fine. But I just think it seemed to me when I was listening to this song that is not, even though John Foreman is saying here the world needs faith, he's not saying we, the Christian church, have it right either. We are all the fuse and the ammunition. And I'm actually trying to be as reasonable about this from all sides. Like, I'm not trying to just say, oh, this song is the Christian church is wrong. I'm trying to say, he's pointing the finger in, and he is someone that believes in Christ. So he's pointing the finger in. And if you're a Christian and you hear this song, you better be pointing the finger in as well. You better admit that you are part of the world.
Which is something we have this discussion a lot with Relient K songs as well.
Right.
There's also at the very bottom, there's a section which we've never come across in our Relient K dives, but it says, what have artists said about the song? And it says, Einstein said, without belief in the inner harmony of the world, there would be no science. Maybe. I say without the dissonance of our modern age, there would be no rock and roll. There lies the tension between the harmony and the dissonance. We're the problem, we're the issue. This is a tune that feels really great to play live. Step on a distortion pedal and scream about the dissonance. John Foreman in a 2015 interview with Thought Co.
Interesting. There's another lyric I really like here, and I don't know exactly what he means by it, but I definitely feel these words. I have no generation, show me my motivation, one world, one desperation, one hope, and one salvation. The phrase, I have no generation, can mean a couple of different things. It's possible here that he means he sees the other people of his age and he thinks that their values do not match with his values. That could be an interpretation of it. But when I think of the phrase, I have no generation, it's really just I have never felt in tune with other people my age. Maybe a little bit more now that we're all kind of even keeling out. But even now when I see I don't know, I guess as I'm getting into fatherhood and I'm seeing posts about fatherhood, I'm I get that now. I get that one. And there's a whole generation of people out there my age experiencing fatherhood, and it seems like we're all experiencing it in the same way. But when I saw my generation in both the church, both the Christians, the youth group, and the rest of and people who were not in the don't want to segregate them out, but people who were not in the Christian church and not in the youth groups, I never felt a part of any of those. So I always felt like I didn't have a generation. And then sometimes when I see the cliches of the millennials and the cliches of Gen X, I'm I don't feel like I'm any of these. You know what I mean? I always felt I was so glad when the phrase Xennial came up. I was, especially because as the talk about millennials and millennials are ruining this industry and millennials are ruining that industry and millennials have ruined this industry. I'm we don't need those industries. They're not spending money on those industries because we don't need those industries anymore. And if you boomer newspapers are really upset about that, why don't you go spend more of your money on those industries? But when, the degradation of millennials would happen in the early 2010s, the jokes against them, still living with your parents and all that stuff, I was I felt of course I felt a lot of that's bullshit, but I was also I don't feel I don't feel like I'm the person you're talking about when you talk about millennials. I've always felt outside of my generation, is what I'm trying to say. How do you feel about your generation, Jessica? Do you feel like a millennial?
I feel like I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness.
Starving hysterical.
Exactly.
That is my favorite They Might Be Giants song. That is actually,
I feel very much like a millennial. I'm right smack dab in the middle of the generation of millennial, and yeah, I definitely am like, yeah, it's me.
And in the bridge, look at what, and there's no annotation on this, when there absolutely should be. Look at what a mess we've made of love. Look at what a mess we've made of love. Look at what a mess we've made. We've got ourselves to blame. Look what a bomb we've made of love. Like, look what a mess we've made of love. He didn't say, look at how much we've ignored love, or look at how much the world doesn't care about love. He said, look at what a mess we have made of love. Who's the we, and who is supposed to be using love in the right ways? The church, and the followers, and the faithful. The faithful who are washing the feet, and not washing the egg off of Christ's face that they're putting there, to quote a particular Relient K song. So I do think, I'm not trying to make this like a thing, of course I am, but I'm not trying to make this a thing of just like progressive or deconstructionist, any of that stuff, but like it clearly seems to me like he's laying blame evenly in this song. And nowadays, when that is such a radical thing to do, and as people are like getting more upset when like they learn just how the Christian bands that they always have enjoyed have certain beliefs in their faith that they don't share, and they're like, how could this be true? I'm like, look at this song, look at Ammunition. The answers are there for the way that Switchfoot and Relient K and all those bands have always felt about these things. Like the faithful are not infallible by their nature. Like, you should understand that that's the truth. It's the Christians who have made a mess of love, and they made more of a mess of it today than they did in 2004 when this song came out. So like Relient K re-recording this song is kind of a perfect timing in a lot of ways. Song meanings.
So up first we have Pyro Penguin, awesome name, on April 28th, 2005 said, I think this song means that the youth of today is ammunition for the arguments of people of authority. I mean, when we do something bad, weapons in schools, drug usage, statistics, etc., it just gives those who want to censor us and control us more ammunition legally. They have a reason to enforce stupid zero tolerance laws and allow metal detector checkpoints in schools and things like that just because they have the statistics to prove that we need them. I think what he's saying here is that we can either blame it on other forces, or we can take on the responsibility of not doing the stupid shit that gives these people power. After all, that's what most of them really want. Just my opinion. Take it if you like it.
This song is definitely a Rorschach test. Like, more than a lot of Relient K songs we talk about. Like, depending on your feeling, just like, reading context into communication. Like, when you read a text, your mood might cause you to read that text differently than the sender meant it. I think this song has a lot of truth in it, but it's going to speak to the truth within the listener. Like, this is more of a death of the author song than I think I've ever seen with Relient K. Maybe we should do a podcast about this band.
Maybe. Schnazzy Squeaker on December 28th, 2004 said, this is an awesome song and John Foreman is hot. That and Faith makes the band. God rocks. Pieces X of XU. Amazing name. I love it. On January 28th, 2006 said, I'm going to piggyback off of Pyro. This song is saying stop blaming the government, stop blaming the minorities, your past, and so on and so on. But really, if we want to see change, it's up to us. We are the powder keg to cannon. Like Gandhi said, you must be the change you want to see in the world. Also, I think it's sort of politely condemning what our society is like today and how corrupt it is. Look what a mess we've made of love. We've got ourselves to blame. Look what a bomb we made of love.
When he said, look what a bomb we've made of love. Now, I didn't pay attention to this song my entire life. I didn't know the words before. It kind of sounds like he's like saying, well, look what a bum we've made of love. I also heard that, but I'm like, he definitely didn't say, look what a bum we've made of love.
Right. Jaffe on May 23rd, 2006 said, I agree with Pyro Penguin, but I also feel it is addressed to all of us, not just the youth. The chorus, we've been blowing up, we're the issue, says that it's not other problems that have been blowing up, not other problems that are the issue, it's humanity that is the issue. We are the ammunition with a short fuse. So long as we keep trying to find other reasons, such as religion, politics, current trends, etc., for the state of the world, and ignore that we are the root of it all, we will remain ammunition for further destruction. The bridge, look what a mess we've made of love, reminds me of the movie The Green Mile. Didn't read the book, by the way, sorry. When John Coffey says he killed them with their love for each other. That's how it is every day all over the world. We abuse love, we corrupt it, we use other people's love as leverage to control them. The Good Tofu on April 27th, 2007 said, April 12th, said, I almost agree with Pyro Penguin, but look what a bomb we've made of love seems to make it seem that we've forgotten all about it, that as Christians our message of love has bombed, not done well as in bombing a test. We've been too wrapped up in the issues to love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. This applies to our schools too, so I agree, but that's not what the song is about. It's about the idea of love to heal the world. We're all lost. We've all lost all ties to each other. No real motivation and such a desperate state. I have no generation. Shoo me to my motivation. One world, one desperation, one hope, one salvation. Regalto 2 on August 1st, 2006 said, these are all really good explanations, but the specific idea John had was in regards to AIDS as he explained at a concert of theirs I went to, and hence look what a mess we've made of love.
But, well...
So...
okay.
Interesting if true. Okay.
Well, it's just like how this song has a lot of ways to interpret it. When you first said that, I thought one thing, which was, to me, the better thing. And then when it was over, when you were done reading that sentence, I thought the worst thing. Which I don't think it is. The worst interpretation of that particular song meaning would be like, look what a mess we've made of love. Meaning, there is now this disease that exists that is spread by sex, and it's all our fault because we have promiscuous sex and homosexuals, and that's created AIDS. I don't think that's what John Foreman was saying. I know that a lot of people do have that point of view that somehow, I mean, that was a thing in the 80s when you watched enough documentaries about, you know, the AIDS crisis and the conservative president's non-reaction to it, that they said, you know, and televangelists saying that the existence of AIDS was like a direct punishment from God to the homosexuals, which it was not. But that was a viewpoint. I don't think that's what John Foreman's saying. I could think, and this is what I first thought when you read that song meaning, that if this is about the AIDS crisis, it's more like, look what a mess we've made of our reaction to the AIDS crisis.
Yeah. Yes.
Especially when AIDS starts to ravage Africa in the way that it has. Like, it's one thing when we think of the AIDS crisis and you watch documentaries about it in, like, you know, in the 1970s, no, not the 70s, but the 80s and the 90s in New York and other places in America like that. But then when it starts ravaging its way through Africa, like, that's a whole nother thing. So it's like, we made a mess of it by our non-reaction to it because certain people thought this is just a homosexual disease, which it was really just a statistical thing of, for a while, why only homosexuals were getting it. But eventually, everyone's, you know, heterosexuals could start spreading it as well. And we didn't react with love and understanding to people who were suffering and help them out in their time of need or take the right precautions to prevent this, and then it spreads to another side of the world and we don't care about it. It's happening over there because it's happening over there, and those aren't people that we understand their culture and don't think about them and don't care. So that's the mess we would have made of love through the failure of the AIDS crisis. I just made a big shrug, like, I guess I guess if that's what he said, I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other song meanings as well out there if you're interested to go look into those. But for that, I think we're going to wrap up this portion of the deep dive. What do you have for us,
Wrap
Dan?
it up. I'll take it.
Speaking of when two become one and...
Oh, yeah, put it on. Wear a condom. So Two Become One, the Spice Girls song. Jessica kind of on some level probably knew it was kind of about sex, but it was really just like about love, but it was kind of a sexy song. But I
was in elementary school when I saw them, and when they were popular, and I saw them live as a child. Of course I didn't know what that song was about.
But there was a line that Baby Spice says where she's like, be a little bit wiser, put it on. I'm like, and then Jessica and I were like, either dating or married, and we were playing that song. I'm like, you know that line's about condoms, right? And she's like, oh.
Oh, we're rocking.
I just wanted that because I quoted "Wrap It Up, I'll Take It," which is in a lot of commercials. The Fabulous Thunderbirds. I've just never really heard the song.
What are you, a white privileged dude in the 90s? My goodness.
Well, it's like a country blues song or something. Yeah, that's what... Talk about generations.
Boomer men love it.
Jessica and I watch enough 80s, 90s, and 70s things that we realize boomer men, especially boomer celebrities, love the blues.
We love the blues.
It clicked for us when we started watching Baywatch, because we were because there's so much 90s culture in Baywatch. It's man, they love the white dudes in Los Angeles in the 80s and 90s. They love the blues. They thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Especially if it's tickets are $200 and you're wearing your nicest suit and the only person who's not white is up on the stage. So anyway, let's see what we have here for content, because we do have a bunch of stuff. Oh, did you find the Grammy article?
I did not.
I'm glad I grabbed this. So in the lead up, in all of the press for the Beautiful Letdown, our version, the Grammy.com released an article, How Switchfoot Reimagined the Beautiful Letdown, with Ryan Tedder, Owl City, Ingrid Address, and more. Detail their covers for their deluxe edition. So we'll just focus on what's important here and go to the quote from Relient K, because it's a whole article about, so pop super producer John Bellion is the man behind... Wait, this is a different article. I scrolled too far and I didn't click the read more, and I started reading a different article. The way some websites do, you click one article and there's a second article at the bottom. So, so here's a quote from Matt Thiessen. Switchfoot requested that we cover Ammunition specifically. However, Hoops and I were talking about it in the car the other day, and we said we would have picked it over any other number from The Beautiful Letdown. I always loved the energy of the song. It has a tinge of pop-punk flavor that especially appealed to me at the time the album was released. That's Relient K's specific quote. But then Switchfoot had some quotes about why they did this. And I think a lot of this might be in a press release that came out for the release of Beautiful Letdown, our version. And actually, I forgot there's also a Jesus Freak Hideout article, which is really the one that I want to read. The Beautiful Letdown, our version, about the project, the band says, and this is on Jesus Freak May 3rd, 2023. Also, it was announced a while ago. I didn't realize it was announced all the way back in May. Time flies. This album has meant the world to us for 20 years. As our way of honoring the journey we've been on together, we re-recorded the album in its entirety. It's our way of saying thanks. Thanks for singing these songs for 20 years. While the music is available, and that's not the quote I wanted to read. I could have sworn it was either in the Grammy article or the Jesus Freak Hideout article, but it's a quote about why they recorded it. They wanted to honor the legacy, but they didn't specifically say we did this because our record label wasn't being cool. But they said something kind of like that. Whatever. I'm not as good at pulling text articles as you are, apparently, but somehow I came across these ones. Anyway, I'm better at pulling videos and covers and stuff. At least I think I am.
I agree. And I think that you might actually be better at the deep dive as well, since you came across this article and I did not.
Well, I somehow came across it because I start in Google and I look at a couple things for like SoundCloud and stuff in there. But I saw, Grammy article, just in case Jessica didn't get this. That looks pretty significant. Like, how many Relient K articles are there on Grammy.com?
Right. That's why I'm like, how did this not come up? Because I did multiple deep dive, like keyword deep dives for this, and clearly I was not thorough enough.
So you mentioned before, earlier in the episode, that there's like a video of Relient K possibly, talk about how they love Switchfoot. I swear I've seen that video as well.
That's where I think they pulled the quote from. 2 articles back.
Right.
Because
the
I've
Grammy
heard that
article.
before. The Grammy article. Because I've heard them saying that before.
I couldn't find that video. You didn't find that video, did you?
No.
Okay. It might have been a story, or it might have been it might have been a smaller piece in a bigger video that I didn't go watching all of the promotional stuff for the Beautiful Letdown Deluxe edition, right? It's in there somewhere. There's separated videos of just the 21 Pilots guy and just the Jonas Brothers talk about how much they love Switchfoot. I couldn't find a separated video of just Relient K talk about how much they love Switchfoot. Although I swear, even before this year with the Beautiful Letdown 20th anniversary, I swear I've seen multiple videos of Relient K saying we love Switchfoot.
Yep.
I kind of have similar content later.
Yeah, because do you know what did come up in my deep dive is the little like skit thing that they did before the Searching for America tour.
Yeah,
like where they're like, we love Switchfoot.
I'm not gonna. We've talked about that on the podcast before, but I have something, an offshoot of that that's a little bit more unique that we definitely have never talked about. But here instead, we'll play. This is a Instagram reel from September 20th, and this is. It says it's Thiessen. Oh yeah, still playing, but no pick. Still not picking it up. This is Relient K posted this to their Instagram. Here's Matt Thiessen playing some guitar on the build section. They call it the build section. I call it the slow pretty part. That we added. Oh, did they add it? See, now, I don't have this original song Ammunition in my head enough to notice it's the build, the slow pretty part, that they added to their cover. That doesn't exist in the Switchfoot version. Pretty sure, back to the quote underneath here, for our cover of Switchfoot's Ammunition. Pretty sure there is an open string alt tuning going on here. Also, remember how he's always played without a pick, using only his thumb like this? It has a unique feel, almost like a slight envelope filter, if you say so. The only effect in the signal chain is a boss limiter. I'm laughing because I don't understand any of this. I know what signal chain means, but I don't know what boss limiter means. This is one of my favorite parts of the song. What you think? And that must be that's Hoops typing there. So let's play this part from the studio of Thiessen playing the build slow pretty part of their cover of Ammunition.
Nice.
Nice.
A lot of cowbell in there.
No, that's the. I think that's the.
The metronome.
Yeah, it's not called a metronome, but it's the beat keeper. There's a thing. Oh man, I learned this.
Welcome
I
to
know
our
this
music
word.
podcast.
No, I know this because yeah, like drummers use it a lot. They just have it in their head so they don't lose time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whatever. Welcome to our music podcast. You're right. So let's see what else. There's that on Instagram. There's that on Instagram. And then, yeah. Oh, this was... So, on Switchfoot's YouTube page, they have... There isn't a lot of stuff I found, on YouTube. The song's too new. Nobody's done stuff specifically. Just like any other Case for Karaoke thing, we're not going to find a lot of content, video content, fan content about the Relient K version. But there's enough about the original Switchfoot version that's what I focused on.
Now, did you come across the drum cover of the Relient K version?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's drum covers. There's tons of guitar covers, tons of drum covers of the original 2004 version of the song as well. But I don't bring that stuff, it's drum covers, guitar covers, play-along covers, yeah. But what I did find is that this song, whoa, that is very loud. This song is a live version of this, is on Switchfoot's official YouTube page.
Nice.
I guess also, like, however Vivo works or how it still works. You remember Vivo? Mm-hmm. Vivo was the music video website. You actually went to vivo.com to watch music videos. And then YouTube took over the video world, and a
lot of them still had the Vivo watermark on them when they came over to YouTube.
That's the weird part. Is Vivo used to have their own proprietary server for their music videos, and then they started migrating everything over to YouTube. Well, then it would get weird, where there's things that happen out there where a video is blocked because the record label would have the rights to it set wrong. A lot of record labels nowadays have figured that stuff out and they don't penalize uploaders, but it would happen all the time. Like MXPX's video for Chick Magnet was missing from YouTube for a decade because whatever record label owns the rights to that, not Tooth and Nail. I mean, whatever corporation owns the rights to Tooth and Nail's catalog, Capitol, I think, they just had the YouTube rights to Chick Magnet set wrong, so anyone who uploaded Chick Magnet, it was instantly blocked, including by MXPX themselves. So if you wanted to watch these kind of videos, you had to go over to Vivo's proprietary website to watch them. Well, then once Vivo starts migrating all their stuff to YouTube and just putting their own YouTube links on their Vivo website, those videos are now blocked. It defeated the whole purpose of Vivo even existing. Why do other bands and artists need Vivo anymore? They can run their own YouTube channels, or record labels and record companies can have their... Actually, I used to work right next to Vivo down in Playa Vista. Like, Vivo's headquarters
funny.
are right there. I'm like, what purpose do they serve now that YouTube exists? Like, why do you need to go to Vivo's? So anyway, you still see all these music videos uploaded by artists that still have the Vivo watermark in the bottom, and I don't know what it means anymore. I don't think it means anything. Well, this performance by Switchfoot of this song, Ammunition, was an official live video performance captured by Vivo, which makes it even more official. And I guess it's what they opened the show with. 2004 Columbia Records. Yeah, Columbia. That's right, because I always mix up Columbia and Capitol. I got confused. I'm like, no, Columbia is what Relient K's on. No, Danny. So here is an official Switchfoot performing this song live on their YouTube channel, professionally shot multicam.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're Switchfoot from San Diego, California. Welcome to the show.
It's extra funky.
It is.
I like it.
This is the Ammunition.
I got an extra funky version coming up later, by the way, by a cover. Yeah, this is kind of their more punky song. And the funny thing is, Switchfoot, especially here in 2004, their appearance doesn't look any different from other pop punk bands at the time, even though Switchfoot is not a pop punk band. Right? Especially that... Oh, by the way...
John Foreman's hair threw me when I saw it. I looked over.
He has very quote unquote emo hair.
Yeah.
Which I don't like to
They
adhere
all
to the
do.
modern concept of emo, but I'm just mesmerized a little bit. So, by the way, that thing that I could never quite name, I want to run this by you. I've called it Sunset Boulevard Punk. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of mid-2000s offshoot of pop punk, which was more radio friendly, but the appearance of the men, because there's almost always men, in the bands wasn't meant to be pop punk. Like, they weren't pretending to be skate punk fans. Mm-hmm. Like,
Right.
Mainly I'm talking about All American Rejects, American Hi-Fi, Sugar Cult, SR-71, these types of bands where they really, like, could technically just be playing, like, mid-2000s MTV rock, not necessarily a faster pop punk style. I've called it Sunset Boulevard Punk because they look like Sunset Boulevard guys from the mid-2000s. What do you think of this? Macy's Punk.
Sure, yeah.
I think Macy's Punk is possibly a better label.
Okay.
Because I've struggled for years to come up with a name for this particular type of mid-2000s pop punk. I think that's what I'm going to call it from now on, Macy's Punk. Because the guys in these bands, they're dressed very nice, but with just a little bit on the edge.
Right, yes.
But they're always, especially like when, I can't remember which band it was, but I think it was Sugar Cult or somebody. I was like watching a music video and they had like just a nice button-up shirt, but it was just a little edgy. And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff you can still get in the men's section of Macy's today, of like the nice night out section.
Right. Hilarious.
So anyway, this live version is lots of fun. This is my favorite Switchfoot song. It's a great chorus too. It's like one of those really simple driving.
Yeah.
Like it's just one word belted out in a couple notes. It's great. There's a badly spleetered version uploaded, so it's the original studio version from 2004, digitally spleetered out, and then called the karaoke version, but it sounds like an abomination. And this YouTube is uploaded by Dennis Carmelina. And they actually have the lyrics on the screen. Like, you would ever bother to really sing to this version of the song.
Right. Well, maybe.
Where you can kind of hear him in the background. Oh, and do you remember those fake lyric videos we used to find all the time?
Yes.
What was her name?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I can't remember her name anymore because she disappeared. So
yeah. We've got one of those here.
Yes, we got. Remember, this was one of the songs that used to happen all the time.
It's like Sydney Blanchard or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. And then, but Jimmy Eat Pod also had their own weird YouTube channel that uploaded stock music.
It was Signe something,
right?
I think.
Signe Blanchard or Signe Blanford. It was something like that. And Jimmy Eat World had their own. Signe Blanford's YouTube channel, for its weird botness, had been deleted at some point by YouTube for community guidelines broken.
Right.
But the one that uploaded all the Jimmy Eat World songs, not actually the songs, but pretended they were lyric videos for Jimmy Eat World songs, then you listen and it's Pond 5 stock music like this. Jimmy Eat Worlds never got deleted. Jimmy Eat Pods never got deleted. Well, it's technically Jimmy Eat Worlds and Jimmy Eat Pods. All right, let's really get down to brass tacks here.
Okay, let's do it.
Here is here's the special thing that I found. No, we're getting down to brass tacks now. This is cool. This is interesting. This is uploaded 16 years ago by the YouTube channel Uma28T. And I say all that because this won't be an easy video for you to necessarily find. You can't just type in Switchfoot and Relient K tour, because that's going to come up with all the more recent stuff. Now, we've never talked about it, and it's not officially on our list, but there is a song by Switchfoot called Rebuild, which is advertised as Switchfoot, Relient K, and
Now
Ruth.
that did come up.
A bunch.
Yeah, in my deep dive a lot this
When
week.
Relient K and Switchfoot did this tour around 2008, they played that song almost every night. And it was a special song that they did together at the time. I don't think they did it on the Searching for America tour. So it was like very much a thing at the time. And it comes up in lists of rare Relient K songs, but I never considered it a Relient K song. I considered it a Switchfoot song. So I never put it on our list. Maybe we will do it as we start running out of material. That tour was announced with this video. I don't understand if this was saved by this fan and uploaded again later or around the same time. And I don't know where this was originally played, because it says, and now a word from our sponsor. And then it's going to cut to the video of Relient K and Switchfoot saying, we are going on tour together. Wherever this video came from, whatever its exact origins, I don't understand. But here is the video. It's a little different than the one from 2016, where they're on the phone, shot beautifully HD, widescreen.
Right.
This is much, much more compressed looking.
Hello, my name is John
Orby.
and
I'm
Matt.
Thiessen.
This
Fall
Switchfoot
and
Reliant
K
will
be
on
tour.
together.
It's
Going
to
be
off the hizzle.
fantastic, crumbelievable.
Sweet. That bombastic, double fantastic.
The jam. Radical.
Ridiculous.
Special.
Beautiful!
See
You
this.
fall.
Good?
All right.
It's fun stuff.
And
I
then it
love
says back to our
Houston's
regular
glasses.
So it's all the members of Switchfoot and Relient K at the time standing on a particle board wall. Like it's those Levi's commercials from the 90s. Did you ever hear about that controversy? I'm an old man, by the way. Just remember that.
I think you showed me those
I showed them
like
to you at
a
the
year
time.
ago or
And it
something.
might have been Lee.
At the time.
I showed them to you at the time when you were 4. There were these infamous commercials, and they were actually inspired by amateur pornography. But they were television commercials on regular television. It was for Lee or Levi jeans.
I think you might have even talked about this on the podcast like a year or two ago, and that was why you ended up showing me them.
And it's like young models, male and female, in different versions of the commercial, talking to someone interviewing them. And it's not literally porn, but it was deliberately meant to invoke the idea of this is like a casting couch porn pastiche, but they're going to talk about how they love being models and why they love their Levi jeans. And it was supposed to be kind of uncomfortable and sexy on purpose in this weird 90s like heroin chic way, like the heroin chic way of like it's fashion, but it's also dangerous and drug fueled, and it's artsy
Dirty.
and it's dirty and all that stuff. This kind of looks like Relient K and Switchfoot in that same set. And then it cuts back and forth word by word between John and Matt, giving the main part of the script of, hey, we're going on tour. And then it starts cutting to all the other members, and it was Schneck you heard going, double bombastic.
Exactly.
I'm going to have to give John Schneck a heads up. Like, I'll be posting this on our social media soon. How do you feel about that?
Shaggy was very popular back in the day. I think that's who does that song.
If you told Shaggy he was popular, he'd be like, it wasn't me. I wasn't popular. It wasn't me. Get
Good
it?
stuff, Dan. I do.
It's good stuff. That's real good stuff.
Yep.
So
You're a dad now. I have to expect more of that.
I've been practicing my dad jokes since I was 14 years old. Thank you very much. Probably since I was 8, to be honest. So lots of AMVs. Fooly Cooly, Kingdom Hearts, Naruto, Inuyasha, and then a live-action AMV-style video to the X-Men movies, to the Patrick Stewart X-Men movies.
Nice.
I don't know, I just picked Patrick Stewart because he's the one on the on the max res default, not Hugh Jackman. And then, you know, I won't play it right. Well, it's the song is the song. I won't show you the footage. But if you want to go look at it, I'll just mention it. This is the video that someone made, like, about all of, like, the political unrest stuff that was going on. This video is uploaded in 2006. This song is a dark song in many ways, but I believe it has a message that should not be ignored. I didn't make this as an anti-war video, nor should it be taken as such. I am simply trying to show the devastation that humanity causes, the horrible things we have done to each other, the way that sin has crippled our world. Switchfoot is a Christian band. I make this a Christian video. That's what the song is intended to be. And it's just a lot of, like, news footage and stuff from the Middle East and things that you might definitely question, you know, what their feelings are on some stuff. Like footage of 9/11, footage of recovery and different things. And, actual footage of one of the towers. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to, you know, it exists out there. I don't feel like naming them. I'm not trying to also, like, not dox them, but I'm not trying to cancel them. I'm just saying it's a weird video, and I get it, especially if you have that early 2000s anxiety about all the things that were happening politically, war, Iraq, Iran, and all those things. And those things have never stopped, and those things have existed for every generation ever. But if it was new to you, the new 24-hour news cycle, and that builds on your anxiety, and this song somehow speaks in a cathartic way to that anxiety, it makes a lot of sense. But it's just an interesting point of view, especially to just see that. It was something I've never seen with a Relient K song. I've never seen someone's kind of, like, cathartic output of editing together a bunch of, like, world tragedies from the early 2000s set to I Am Lion-O.
Danny, what's your favorite war song? This song or Holy Wars by Megadeth?
I guess Holy Wars by Megadeth. That song's less about war and more about one of the few times where Mustaine admitted he's a dumbass. It's one of those few Mustaine pointing the finger inward and saying "fools like me." Anyway, okay, now we're getting down to brass tacks. Time for the covers, and they are all amazing in their own ways. This one looks fantastic. This is from October 23rd, 2007. This is a low-res, 420p video. Everyone is just pixels.
How cursed is it?
It's a little cursed, but it's kind of aesthetically awesome in a 2000s way.
Okay.
Because they're in a very dark, at least the camera is picking it up as a very dark performance space. And this is the band OHC playing Ammunition by Switchfoot at the Basement. Now, the Basement, and in this context, I can't tell. This could be like a youth group called The Basement, or this could be like a youth group related coffee house called The Basement, or honestly, this could be like
someone's basement.
This could be someone's basement, but this could be like an all ages venue where like young bands come to just like play stuff, because I used to go to things like that. It didn't come up in our Pop Punk That Made Me playlist, but I used to go to, there was a couple of different all ages, and usually they were like art spaces. Like during the day, kids would go there to like paint and stuff, but then in the evening, bands of all kinds, of any non-denominational, of any kind of band,
right,
of young kids, non-religious, religious, everyone would come together. And I think that also partially is what molded my view between supposed secular and Christian music, is that a lot of the local bands, they all played together. Like the Christian bands played with the non-Christian bands.
Gotcha.
And that's the way that a lot of Christian bands came up. Like
sure,
the Insiders didn't have other Christian ska bands to play with in Detroit,
right,
in the 90s. So they were playing with every other kind of ska band, and they were playing with every other kind of band.
They had to play all of those youth groups where they just didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I can't tell if this is a faith-based venue or not, but it is a dark basement with some cool lights. It could be like a nonprofit art space. It could be a church basement with a youth group setting. They sound amazing in a slightly ironic, but you just got to understand what I think is amazing. So check out OHC. I'm going to make the lead up to this, me playing this, as long as possible. Here they are. Okay, no, these guys are awesome. There's a couple of teen bands I have in my list here, and I couldn't remember one from the other. These guys just
rock.
flat out are really good. Like, these guys are well practiced. They know their instruments. They sound really good. Love it. So this is OCH Ammunition Switchfoot on YouTube channel. Miko Ala 207 MIKOALA 2007. Here is, okay, this is the one who are a little loose, not as good, but I still love it because they're trying so hard. This is Chemical Imb. Weird, odd name. Chemical IMB is the name of this band. And this one is in a gym. This one is literally in a gym. And it's only from 9 years ago. 44 views. I think this is like actually also to give them a little bit more credit here. I think this is like a loose like practice rehearsal setup that they just happen to be filming because you hear a lot of people chattering in the background. He just came up and like tap the microphone. It was like, hey.
I love this singer's voice.
That is good. He actually sounds... I think... Is he going through a little bit of a filter?
It sounds like it.
Yeah, and he sounds very John Foreman-ish.
It's good stuff.
He's, as far as I can tell in the compression of the video, he's hitting the notes the way John Foreman hits them.
Yeah. Playing fast and loose with the lyrics there.
We're ammunition and we're ammunition. Guess how many of us are ammunition? No, these guys are great too.
Plastic bag.
This is fantastic. Okay, I you know, things hit me a little differently when I'm recording, when I'm watching YouTube videos on my lunch break at work. But these guys are great. It was a little bit of a rough start. Maybe I focused too much on the rough start, but again, these guys are really good too. Now this one, you said there was a little bit of a funk added to some version we watched earlier. Here is
The live performance of
the
band.
official live version. Here from 16 years ago. Live at Ohlone, OHLONE. Cover song by the jazz rock combo class
Ooh.
of Ohlone College, Fremont, California, fall 2006 final performance.
Oh, nice. I'm excited.
So this is like a music school class performing this song, switching it up. The only really transformative cover I found of Ammunition by Switchfoot. Also, like 25 people in the band. They have 3 female singers, and then like 5 or 6 instrumentalists. Instrumentalists. Oh, it's 2 male singers and 1 female singer, and they're all gonna do it like a little choral society to a full rock band. So they're riding in this pocket that's not exactly the song.
I was really hoping that they were gonna really like
jazz it up,
like beef up that bass, like they were kind of getting in that bass groove in the live, but no.
Obviously, I don't know anything about music, but it seems to me like, and we've seen this happen occasionally with amateur bands, where different members of the band think they're in different bands.
Yes.
We've definitely seen the guy who wants to be in a heavy metal band singing with the rest of the band that wants to be in a pop rock band. And they're all playing a Relient K song, and he is like giving it his biggest metal, not growl, but his biggest metal bravado. And it's like, you guys are in different bands. It's not quite as bad here, but I feel like the drummer and the keyboardist and the singers are definitely in a jazz combo, and the guitarist and the bassist are in a rock band.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on here. And I think they're going to have to grade this class on a curve because everyone's playing a slightly different vibe here.
Show me my motivation.
And what is this shirt the like lead singer guy is wearing? Why does it look like a smoking
There's
jacket?
3 singers. He's got like a, I don't know what it's like. He definitely looks like Richard Cheese or something.
It's like a silk bowling shirt. Like, what is he wearing?
He's trying to dress like the male lead of Walk to Remember going on their date.
He didn't wear anything
That's
loud.
how we'll end the episode, is because we're almost there in this 3-hour episode, but we'll talk about me watching Walk to Remember for the first time. So, yeah, I can't emphasize, there's 3 singers for some reason. It makes sense if you're a jazz combo. Also, she's doing that rock type of thing that I've never really cared for when it comes to female. I mean, I don't know. I guess that kind of singing has a place in certain types of music, but not in rock music. There's a ska band that I would otherwise...
I was going to say, she sounds like she should be more like in a ska band.
Well, that's the thing is, like, a lot of female-led ska bands have this kind of singing, and I've never... Like, the band Meal Ticket, she has that kind of voice. Save Ferris, she does that once in a while, but she doesn't do it as much on everything. That type of female singing, it must have its place in some type of music, but it doesn't have its place for me in punk. In rock. Oh, there's a kick-ass guitar solo. Relient K added a little to their cover, but so did the Alone College Jazz combo. Outstanding. Well, those are the covers, and then we have W. Paul Pulsifer's piano cover, which we can kind of have play us in the background, although he's going to sing, I think, as well. Or maybe he doesn't sing. Anyway, we'll get ready to wrap up, but I do want to talk about when we watched A Walk to Remember.
Okay.
So, Jessica knows this story. So, when Jessica and
I lived it.
Yeah, when Jessica and I first started dating, she created it was such a romantic, sweet idea. She created a list of movies that she wanted to make sure she shared with me in our relationship. Such a beautiful, sweet idea. We did a couple movies on those lists, and I just tore them to shreds. I'm such an asshole.
Really hard.
But to be fair, they weren't like Criterion artistic movies. They were like mainstream.
Heaven forbid.
Well, no, because you like that kind of stuff, but that's not you wanted to share with me, like
things
the romantic movies, like things you had seen before.
Things I liked.
Like I think was my boss's daughter was on there.
It was not.
No, there was some other
I've
Ashton
never
Kutcher
seen
movie.
That.
There was some other Ashton Kutcher movie that
Just
was
Married. Probably.
Just Married.
Oh no! It was oh my gosh, because you hate her. The one with A Lot Like Love. A Lot Like Love was on there.
Oh, Amanda Peet.
Amanda Peet.
Never been a big fan of Amanda Peet. She hasn't really been around a lot. She's the second X-Files movie that no one saw.
She does stuff, maybe.
Okay, maybe she's in a lot of television streaming like everyone is now.
And I'm thinking about Parker Posey. I get those two confused.
So she put together a list of movies for us to watch, and I think also we the first ones we watched on your list were the worst movies on your list, incidentally. So I made fun of those ones, and you were like, there were some movies you were like, I can't watch this movie with you anymore, like the ones we hadn't watched, because you're like, you're gonna ruin it, and I love this movie so much. And one of them was A Walk to Remember. We didn't watch that in that first go-round of movies. And we've been married for a couple years, and I was like, I want to watch A Walk to Remember with you.
Oh, no, not a couple years. We were married for, like, almost a decade.
Oh, right, because it was here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you finally watched
No,
it.
it wasn't a decade. It was 5 years. At that point, we'd been married for 5 years, and we were sitting here. We
it
just
was
moved.
like 6 or 7.
Okay, but we moved here to Los Angeles. We were married in 2010. We moved here in 2014. So
it was a few years after that.
So we were here. And I'm like, Jesse, I want to watch A Walk to Remember with you. For some reason, it finally came out. Maybe because of the Switchfoot stuff, and I was like, finally curious to see what part did Switchfoot play in the movie. What part did their songs play? I was like, Jesse, I promise you, I will not make jokes at this movie. And I didn't. I learned I learned in those ways to be a better husband. I still have learning to do about being a better husband.
That was after we watched it after our last podcast, where I was like, now I'm really never watching my favorite movies that you've never seen with you.
That's right,
because you're totally gonna ruin them. And it was definitely after that show.
Our original, which you could hear about in our Lost Boy episode, our original podcast about the Sci-Fi Channel show Lost Girl. That's what our original podcast was about. I tore that show apart, and she realized she hated it too. I didn't make you learn to hate Relient K. Anyway, after that, I had to.
Thanks.
I had to really promise you, I will not make any jokes at A Walk to Remember if we watch this together. And you were like, okay, all right. And we watched it. Oh, I guess we're done because the song's over now. We watched it. I did not make any jokes. I said, I'm going to approach this sincerely. And I did. And I enjoyed the movie. And I was actually like, when I throw away cynical Danny and I just enjoy this as a little story and also as a time capsule. I remember this time when this movie came out, even though I never saw the movie myself. I remember the marketing. I remember Mandy Moore at this time. totally get it. I'm having a great time. And then they go on their first date, and he wears that fucking outfit. And I'm like, what is this kid wearing? He looks like Tony Soprano, but like, what are you wearing? He's wearing like a clean white undershirt, or like a clean white t-shirt, and then over it he has not a bowling shirt, but a silk shirt that's just a little too big for him. I'm like, what the hell are you wearing? And I started making jokes about that.
And it's like a yellowy cream color.
Yes, but Jessica did enjoy those jokes, and I had a good time making fun of those.
Yeah, I think I was the one who was actually pointing out more of the faults of the film watching it later. I saw that movie 3 times in the theater. I loved it so much. Like,
and then, okay, big spoilers if you've never seen this movie, because this, and this is what I'll end on, and then I guess you just gotta skip ahead a few seconds if you've never seen A Walk to Remember. I had seen parts of it on cable. I knew the general sense of it. She's a Christian girl in the school. She has some sort of debilitating disease, and he's a little mean to her to be popular, but then they kind of become friends, and then he learns he's been too mean, and they fall in love. Cool. That's about as much as I knew about it. Here's the spoiler. This part never got sent to me through the zeitgeist. They get married.
You're such a dick.
I would no. I didn't make fun of this part. I was just no. I did not make fun of this part. I was just shocked that that's where the movie went.
You did make fun of it. You laughed.
I was so surprised, and
it's beautiful.
But
she had
beautiful.
A list of all the things she wanted to do before she passed away, and one of them was get married in the church where her parents were married.
And when I sat back and looked at it, I'm like, this is the only thing they could do, right? Because she wants to get this movie. They're not going to have them not be together by the end of the movie, but she's not going to, like, by the nature of it, she's not going to live for them long enough for them to, like, get married, and she's not going to have sex out of wedlock because it's a Christian movie. I'm not kidding. This was the decision that was made. Right?
I have read both the book and seen the movie, and none of it mentions, like, oh, we want to get married just so we can bang Danny.
No, that's not what I mean. It's not like people in Bible school. It's like, I got it, or Leanne in King of the Hill after she gets re-virginized. It's like, I just got to get married so I can have sex. When Owen Wilson plays her boyfriend in that episode. I don't mean it that way. I mean, like, it's a romance movie. You want to see them be together, and because it has, like, entwined Christian themes, but it's not really an evangelical movie. It is like a mainstream movie. It's written by Nicholas Sparks, but it takes that side of faith, like, earnestly, and it takes it sincerely, and it doesn't, like, mock it, nor does it push. It doesn't exist as a movie to make you think, oh, I want to be Christian and I want to be a virgin until marriage as well. That's not the point of it, but it just takes her belief as a character sincerely, and it's like she's not gonna be with him before she dies unless they get married. So I'm like, logically, I guess this is the only way it can go, but I had no idea. It is shocking. It's more sincere, but it's just as shocking. Well, you know, in like Twilight, like they get married so they can have sex, but that's a much more in your face. Should we delete all this?
No, it's fine.
I can't be the only one who. Okay, I want to know for real. And it's only our steadfast true listeners listening to the end of this episode right now, the people who know us the best. If you've seen A Walk to Remember, how did you feel when they got married? Were you surprised? Were you shocked? I wasn't.
It's beautiful and heartwarming.
It is
and
beautiful.
You're like in tears or on the verge of tears by the time you get there. And then he's like, and we had a summer together, and then you just like start
That's really
bawling.
beautiful. And especially that I completely understand. It is very beautiful, but it was just really, really surprising to know that's where the story went. And then I understood its meaning, and I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. But I just want to know, was anyone else out there like really surprised? How did you feel when they got married at the end of that movie? Those of you listening who didn't want to have it spoiled, if you didn't have it spoiled, make sure to go watch the movie and let us know. Now, how do you think the Switchfoot songs fit in there?
So do we like this song more or less?
Oh yeah, I guess so. Or, we have to do it for all of them. We have to do it for both versions.
I like both versions more because I've never heard either before. Did you say you definitely don't?
No, I definitely do.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
like both versions more.
Remember the Walk to Remember musical we found on YouTube in some past episode?
Oh, yeah.
It was someone wrote a stage musical for
That's
Walk
some
to
shit
Remember.
I would have done in high school.
It was definitely, I don't think it was official. It was a fan production. And they didn't do full costume. They didn't do full stage. They just, all stood at their podiums and sang and rehearsed the part. But, yeah, they used some Relient K songs. They used some Switchfoot songs. I would like to see the stage musical of Walk to Remember out there on Broadway. Maybe Switchfoot, from the goodwill for this